Multi-layered cognitive processing. Have you ever noticed how some people approach a problem by diving straight into the details, while others first need to step back and see the bigger picture? I have seen that most teams struggle not because they lack intelligence, but because they fail to recognize that different layers of thinking need to happen in a specific sequence. Could it be that the most effective problem solving isn't just about thinking harder, but about thinking in layers, moving seamlessly between intuition, analysis, reflection, and action? In my experience, real breakthroughs happen when people engage in multiple types of thinking, at the right time, in the right order. Isn't it obvious that when a team jumps into solutions too soon, they often miss the deeper issues? And when they spend too much time analyzing, they lose momentum and never implement anything. What if there was a way to structure thinking so that each phase naturally leads into the next, creating a smooth, effortless flow toward real insight? I have seen that the best decisions are made when people shift between conceptual and concrete thinking. Have you noticed how some people naturally zoom out to see patterns and connections, while others prefer to zoom in and work through details step by step? Could it be that the best outcomes happen when teams are trained to move between these layers deliberately, instead of getting stuck in just one? What if the real key to effective decision-making wasn't just about collecting more data, but about knowing when to step back and when to zoom in? And then there's the issue of intuition versus logic. I have seen that many organizations rely too heavily on pure data and structured reasoning, dismissing insights that come from gut feelings, past experiences, or subconscious pattern recognition. Isn't it fascinating that some of the most successful innovators, scientists, artists, and entrepreneurs often credit their biggest breakthroughs to a moment of intuition, not just logical analysis? Could it be that structured thinking should include space for the unstructured, time to explore ideas that don't yet have data to back them up? Have you ever wondered why some discussions feel flat and predictable, while others feel alive with energy and discovery? I have noticed that the best conversations don't just stay at one level of thinking, they flow dynamically between exploration, deep analysis, personal reflection, and practical action. Could it be that the best insights happen when we allow thinking to be layered, multidimensional, and responsive to the moment? What if problem solving wasn't just about finding answers, but about moving through different states of awareness until the best answers naturally emerge? I've also seen how easy it is to get stuck in one mode of thinking. Some teams only focus on data, while others get lost in endless brainstorming with no clear direction. Isn't it obvious that thinking should be both structured and fluid, shifting from logic to creativity, from detail to vision, from strategy to action? What if the best ideas don't come from thinking harder, but from knowing how to shift between different ways of thinking at the right time? So the real question is, what if the real obstacle to better decision-making isn't a lack of knowledge, but a lack of cognitive agility? Could it be that the secret to effortless innovation isn't just about what we think, but how we move through layers of thinking? And if that's true, isn't it worth asking? How much more could we accomplish if we stopped trying to force solutions from a single perspective, and instead learned how to flow between different layers of thought until the solution naturally reveals itself? Multi-layered cognitive processing, engaging every thinking style for smarter solutions. Have you ever been in a meeting where one person dives straight into the details, listing out facts and figures, while another is still trying to make sense of the bigger picture? Or maybe someone is already thinking about the long-term implications, while another is asking, okay, but what do we actually need to do right now? It's fascinating how differently people process information, and yet, in most discussions, these differences aren't structured, they just collide. But what if, instead of working against each other, these different ways of thinking built on each other to create better, more complete solutions? In any room full of diverse minds, there will always be conceptual thinkers who start by grasping the abstract idea behind a problem. Take an INFJ or an INTP, Both thrive on understanding patterns, deep meanings, and underlying structures. In a workshop, they'll step back and try to uncover the hidden causes of the issue, seeing connections that others might miss. But if the discussion stays in this phase too long, someone like an ESTJ or an ISTP will start getting restless. They're practical, action-driven types who need to see concrete data and real-world applications. They'll say, "That's an interesting theory, but what does it actually look like in practice?" Pushing the conversation from concept to reality. Then there are those who thrive in analytical processing, breaking things down into clear, logical steps. ENJs and ISTJs are especially strong here. They'll categorize the information, look for inconsistencies, and start structuring it into something that can actually be implemented. But while they're streamlining and optimizing, someone like an ENFP or an ISFP might challenge them with an entirely different way of thinking. The creatives and free thinkers bring a more fluid, intuitive perspective, asking, "Are we sure we're not limiting ourselves by thinking inside these boundaries? Or how does this actually feel to the people affected by it?" Suddenly, the conversation isn't just about efficiency. It's about whether the solution is even the right one to begin with. And let's not forget those who process information through reflection and internal synthesis. INTJs, INFPs, and ISFJs often don't speak until they fully form their thoughts. In a typical meeting, these types might struggle to contribute because they need more time to process before responding. But in a structured workshop, they would be given space to gather their thoughts, analyze what's been said, and then provide deep, well-considered insights that others might have missed in the rush of conversation. Imagine how much richer discussions would be if ideas weren't just thrown around, but actually given time to evolve. Now think about a decision-making session that moves through these different layers of cognition, engaging each type at the right time. Instead of a chaotic free-for-all, the discussion might start with big-picture conceptualization, allowing intuitive types like INFJs and ENTPs to explore possibilities. Then the conversation would shift into data-driven analysis, where ISTJs and ENTJs ensure that the ideas are practical and based on real-world logic. After that, it would move into empathetic processing, where ISFPs and ENFJs would evaluate how the solutions align with human needs and values. And finally, ISTPs and ESTPs would bring in real-time adaptability, asking, how do we implement this in a way that actually works in unpredictable situations? Without structured cognitive engagement, these different thinking styles clash or go unheard. But when discussions are designed to move through different levels of processing, the result isn't just smoother collaboration, it's solutions that are stronger, more adaptive, and more complete. Instead of getting stuck in just one mode of thinking, the team moves through conceptual, analytical, emotional, and action-oriented processing, ensuring that every decision is built on a foundation that considers all angles. So the real question is, what if meetings weren't just places where ideas were thrown around, but spaces where every type of thinker had a role to play in shaping a smarter, more layered solution? Could it be that the real secret to better decision-making isn't just about getting more perspectives in the room, but about engaging them in the right sequence so that ideas naturally evolve into something far greater than what any one person could come up with alone?